In the heart of Lagos, where traffic never sleeps and secrets hide in plain sight, a young woman falls in love with a man no one truly knows. Their romance was magical, until she realized she had married a ghost. This isn't just a love story. It's a haunting you'll never forget. Yaba was never quiet. From the moment the sun peeked through the misty skyline, the streets buzzed with the sounds of moving danfos, street hawkers calling out to passengers, and the occasional curse word from a frustrated driver stuck in traffic. Life here moved fast, too fast, sometimes, for a girl like Olivia. Olivia was 24, soft-spoken, and hard-working. She lived in a cramped single room with her younger sister, Ifunanya, and worked part-time at a small tailoring shop near Tejuosho Market. Her dream was to become a full fashion designer and open her own store someday. But for now, between sewing clothes, boiling rice on a small gas burner, and sharing one mirror with her sister, she was just trying to survive. She had never known luxury. Not in childhood. Not now. Her parents were gone, lost in a road accident when she was just 13. Since then, life had been one long stretch of struggle. But Olivia didn't complain. She was the type who smiled even when her eyes were tired, who gave her last 100 Nigerian nairas to someone else, and who carried hope like a secret inside her chest. Most evenings, after closing work, she would stop by the pedestrian bridge beside Herbert Macaulay Way, sit quietly for a few minutes and watch people. There was something calming about it. The hum of the city, the yellow buses flying past, the sky slowly turning indigo. It reminded her that even in chaos, the world kept moving. That's where she was the night everything changed. The rain had come suddenly, sharp and unkind. Lagos rain didn't give warning. One minute the sky was clear. The next it was as if the heavens had been split open. Olivia had no umbrella. She huddled beneath the bridge, shivering, her plastic bag of fabric pressed tightly to her chest. The roads flooded fast, cars splashed water as they passed, and the few Okadas left were charging double to take anyone home. Then he appeared. A man tall, handsome, standing just under the soft yellow glow of the street lamp. He held a red umbrella. At first, she thought he was waiting for someone. But then he walked straight to her, slowly, like he had been searching only for her. "Are you okay?" he asked, voice smooth like silk, deep like late-night radio. His eyes were kind but unreadable. Olivia hesitated. "I'm fine," she lied, teeth chattering. He held out the umbrella. "Share it with me. Let me walk you to the junction." Normally, she would never. Lagos was not the kind of place where you trusted strange men, especially ones that showed up in the rain like a scene from a film. But something about him felt safe, familiar even. "My name is Jide," he said as they walked side by side. "And you?" "Olivia." Beautiful name for a beautiful woman. She rolled her eyes slightly but smiled. Lagos men were always smooth, but he didn't press. He didn't flirt too much. He asked about her day, her work. He listened. By the time they reached her street, the rain had stopped. "I hope this won't be the last time I see you," he said, handing her the umbrella. She didn't answer. She couldn't. She just looked at him, tall, neat, dark-skinned with a calmness in his face that made the world feel slower. When she entered her room that night, Ifunanya was already asleep. Olivia sat on the bed, soaked clothes clinging to her body, and stared at the red umbrella in her hand. Something about Jide didn't feel normal, but not in a bad way. In fact, it was the first time in a long time she had felt seen. She didn't know that night would mark the beginning of something much bigger than a rainy day kindness. She had just met the man who would change everything. Olivia didn't see Jide for another week. She went about her routine, rising early, rushing to the shop, dealing with customers who wanted miracles with low budgets, and dodging Lagos traffic like it was a full-time job. But in between measuring fabrics and threading needles, her mind kept drifting back to that night. That voice, that calmness. She still had the red umbrella. It leaned quietly in a corner of the room, dry now, but still carrying the weight of memory. Ifunanya had asked about it. "Who gave you this one?" she said one morning while sweeping. Olivia shrugged. "A man I met during the rain." "You and your mysterious Lagos love stories," her sister teased. "You go just fall in love anyhow." But it wasn't love. Not yet. It was curiosity. And then one evening, just as she was locking up the shop, she saw him again. He was standing by the gate, hands in his pockets, wearing a navy blue shirt that clung to his broad shoulders like it was tailored just for him. His smile was gentle, not too wide, not trying too hard. "I was hoping to catch you," he said. Olivia felt her heart stumble a little. "You remembered where I work? I never forget things I care about." She laughed, looking away to hide her blush. "That's smooth. I've been called worse," he replied, holding out a small white nylon bag. "I brought Sia. Thought we could sit and eat." Something about Jide was different from the men Olivia knew in Lagos, the ones who flashed borrowed cars and forced conversations. He was quiet, composed, and when he looked at her, it felt like he saw through all the noise around her. They sat on a bench outside a closed pharmacy, sharing spicy suya and cold water, watching people pass. The sky above them was dark, but clear. No rain this time, just the kind of night where the city seemed to hum with life. He asked her about her dreams, her favorite childhood memory, and what scared her the most. "No one's ever asked me that," Olivia said quietly. "Then they don't really know you," he replied. She told him about her parents, how their sudden death left a hole in her chest she could never fully explain, how she'd become a mother to Ifunanya before she was even old enough to know who she really was. Jide listened, not the kind of listening where someone is just waiting for their turn to talk, but the real kind. Like every word mattered. Before they parted, he gently took her hand and said, "I want to see you again." And Olivia said yes. That night, when she returned home, her heart was light and her footsteps even lighter. Ifunanya was already asleep, snoring softly. Olivia sat on her bed, unwrapped the last stick of suya Jide had packed for her, and smiled. She didn't know much about him yet, where he lived, what he did, but something about him felt real. She had no idea that the man she was slowly falling for didn't belong to this world. From that evening on, Jide became a part of Olivia's life, quietly, gently, almost like he'd always been meant to be there. He didn't come every day, but when he did, it was always when she needed him the most. After a long day at work, after a frustrating encounter with a customer, after a day she felt invisible to the world, Jide would appear, often just down the street or waiting across from the shop, always with that calm smile and something thoughtful in his hands. Sometimes it was suya, other days roasted plantain. Once, it was a book she'd casually mentioned weeks before. "How did you know I needed this today?" she asked one evening. "I just did," he said. They didn't go out to restaurants or movies. He always preferred simple, quiet places. A bench near the Third Mainland Bridge, a hidden corner of Freedom Park after hours. He liked the dark, the stillness, the places others didn't notice. But what mattered was, from that day forward, Olivia started seeing Jide more often. He didn't text her good morning quotes, or flood her phone with messages like other men. He was different. He called her once in a while, mostly in the evenings after she got home, and whenever he said he would come by, he came. And he never came empty-handed. Sometimes it was a small pack of fried plantain from a mama-put joint, other times a bottle of cold Maltina. Once, he even brought a portable rechargeable fan because he'd noticed her room was stuffy the last time he visited. "You didn't have to," Olivia had said. "I wanted to," he replied, with that calm voice of his. Jide didn't brag. He didn't talk much about his work, only said he did some real estate stuff and often had to be in different parts of Lagos. But the way he carried himself, the way he spoke, the way he listened, it all made Olivia feel something she hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. He was the kind of man who noticed when she was tired without her saying a word, who offered to walk her halfway home, even when he had to go the other way, who didn't try to touch her too soon, didn't push past her comfort. He was patient, even if Ifunanya noticed. "One day you go marry this one," she joked, folding clothes. Olivia smiled. "I don't even know him like that yet." "But your eyes don't change," her sister teased. "You do look happy now." And truth be told, it had been years since someone looked at her like she mattered. since someone made her laugh without asking for anything in return. Jide did that. He didn't promise heaven and earth. He just showed up. And that alone meant everything. Still, there were things that didn't quite add up. He never let her visit him. When she once asked where he lived, he smiled and said, "On the island." "But it's complicated." "Complicated how?" she asked. "I move around a lot. Let me settle something first. Then I'll take you there." Olivia didn't press. She didn't want to ruin what they were building by asking too many questions too soon. Besides, people had their reasons. She knew what it was like to carry baggage too heavy for small talk. But sometimes when she looked at him, really looked, she saw a sadness in his eyes, like someone carrying a weight he didn't know how to share. He would go quiet out of nowhere, staring at nothing for minutes before blinking and smiling again, as if he'd just remembered she was there. "You good?" she'd ask. "Yeah," he'd always say. "Just thinking." And then, without warning, one quiet evening after walking her home, Jide paused at her doorstep and said, "Olivia, do you believe in fate?" She blinked, surprised by the question. "I don't know." "Why?" "Because I think I was meant to meet you. I don't know how to explain it, but something about you feels like home." She laughed nervously. "You sound like someone in a Netflix movie." But deep inside, something in her chest fluttered. She couldn't lie. "I'm serious," he said. "I haven't felt this way in a long time." There was no candlelight, no orchestra, no over-the-top drama, just the soft humming of a nearby generator, the distant sound of a hawker yelling, "Pure water," and a girl standing in front of her door with a man who saw her. That night, Olivia couldn't sleep. She lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling fan that barely turned, thinking about everything. About her life, about her sister, about this man who had walked into her world like a quiet breeze, so gentle, yet already shaking things inside her. She didn't know his secret, and she didn't know that loving him would come with a price. It had been nearly 2 months since Olivia met Jide, and in that short time, he had become her piece in the chaos of Lagos. They didn't do anything fancy, no beach dates or expensive restaurants, just walks after work, soft conversations under the flickering streetlights, and the occasional shared plate of food at a roadside buka. Yet, everything about it felt real, safe. But then the whispers began. It started with Mama Doris, the nosy woman who sold provisions down the road. One evening, Olivia was buying recharge card when Mama Doris leaned in and said, "That fine man way day follow you sometimes. Where you from?" Olivia smiled. "He's just a friend." The woman narrowed her eyes. "Be careful, oh. Fine face no day mean good heart." Olivia shrugged it off. Lagos was full of opinions, and everyone had something to say when they saw a girl smiling too much. But it didn't stop there. At the shop, her boss, Auntie Ronk, made a casual comment while cutting fabric. "You day glow, Olivia," she said. "Love day sweet UABI." Olivia chuckled. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Well, just shine your eye. Some people come with charm. They no day show who dem be until it's too late." It felt like a joke, but something about the way she said it stuck in Olivia's head. But she waved it off. Some weeks later, Ifunanya came home from school looking unsettled. "I saw that man," she said. "The one you like." "Jide." "Yeah, I saw him by the mechanic's place. But, Olivia, I swear he was standing right in front of me. And then when I turned to tell my friend, he was gone. Just like that." Olivia paused. "Gone how?" "Just gone," her sister said. "Like he vanished." Olivia laughed it off. "He probably walked away and you didn't notice." But her chest tightened. That night, as she lay in bed, something felt off. The power was out again. The room was hot and quiet, but her thoughts were louder than ever. She remembered how Jide always appeared, never announced. How he always seemed to know when she needed him. How he never talked about family. or friends, or his past. And then she remembered something strange, something she hadn't really paid attention to until now. He never touched anything for long. Whenever he held her hand, it was brief. When he drank water, he barely finished the bottle. And each time he visited her room, he stood the entire time, refusing to sit, even when she insisted. Her heart began to beat faster. Was she overthinking? Was it just fear creeping in because people were talking? Or was there something truly strange about Jide? She wanted to ask him. But how do you look a man in the eyes and say, "Are you even real?" The next time he visited, she tried to pay attention. They sat outside again, under the dim glow of the street lamp. "Jide," she asked slowly, "what's your full name?" He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Why?" "I just want to know." He was quiet for a moment, then said, "Jidemna Ofiakor. Where's your family?" "Not in Lagos," he said. "Most of them are gone. But my mom lives in the village." "Gone how?" "Dead." Something cold passed through her chest. She laughed, but it felt forced. "You're joking," she said. He didn't answer, just looked down at his hands. That night he left early, said he had something to do. No kiss, no long hug, just a quiet, "take care of yourself." And when he turned to walk away, Olivia noticed something that made her stomach drop. His feet didn't make a sound, not a single step on the gravel road. It was like he was floating. She stood there long after he disappeared, heart pounding, umbrella hanging uselessly at her side. For the first time since she met him, she was afraid. Olivia tried to push the fear out of her mind. Maybe it was the stress of Lagos. Maybe she hadn't slept well. Maybe her sister was just imagining things, and Mama Doris was just being her usual paranoid self. But no matter how many times she told herself that, something inside her wouldn't settle. Still, Jide kept coming. Even after that strange night, he returned a few days later with her favorite shawarma and a quiet smile. Olivia watched him closely, but he was the same. Gentle, soft-spoken, warm. And when he reached out to touch her hand, she didn't pull away. Because even with all the questions, she wanted to believe he was real. That this love was real. It was on a Sunday evening, the streets quiet after heavy rain, that he asked. They were sitting on a wooden bench outside her compound. Power was out, and the only light came from the neighbor's rechargeable lamp shining faintly through a window. Jide hadn't said much that evening. He just sat beside her, his arm resting lightly behind her, eyes lost in the darkness. Then, out of nowhere, he turned to her and said, "I want to marry you, Olivia." She blinked. "What?" "I want to marry you," he repeated. "I know it's sudden. I know we haven't known each other long. But I know what I feel. And I've never been more sure of anything in my life." Olivia stared at him. This wasn't how she imagined it. No kneeling, no ring, no crowd of onlookers or camera flashes. Just his voice, calm and certain, cutting through the silence. Her heart raced. "Jide, He took her hands gently. "I know you're scared. I am too. But I need you to trust me. I want to give you peace. I want to be your family." She didn't answer right away. In truth, she had thought about it, what life with him would be like. He made her feel wanted, seen, safe. Even if he was hiding something, she wanted to believe it wasn't something that could hurt her. Still, a voice in the back of her mind whispered, "You don't really know who he is." "Will I get to meet your people?" she asked carefully. "They're not around," he said, voice dropping. "And mine. I'll meet them. When you're ready." It was vague. But again, he always was. Olivia looked at him. The way his eyes searched hers, the warmth in his hands, the way he always knew what to say when she was overwhelmed. And in that moment, her fear melted into something deeper, trust, or maybe longing. She nodded slowly. "Yes," she whispered. Jide smiled, the kind of smile that made her forget the world, even if just for a second. "You won't regret this," he said. The next morning, she told Ifunanya. Her sister dropped her spoon. "You said yes." "I know it's fast," Olivia said quickly. "But he makes me happy. But you don't know anything about him. What does he do? Where does he live? Has he even met our family people? I know. I know. I've been thinking about it too. But I can't explain it. He feels right. Ifunanya stared at her, then lowered her voice. I had another dream. Olivia raised an eyebrow. What kind of dream? There was fire. A room. You were wearing white. And Jide, he wasn't human. Stop it, Olivia said sharply. I'm serious, Liv. I said stop. She left the house and walked all the way to the shop with a lump in her throat. She wanted to believe this love was true, that she could finally have something good, something real. Then the wedding date was fixed and Jide made all the preparations. The wedding was small. Olivia had expected at least some sort of noise, a few family members arguing about food, someone shouting at the caterer, or neighbors sneaking in to eat jollof. But it wasn't like that. Jide had insisted on something quiet. Just her, him, and two witnesses, an older man he called Uncle Ejiofor, and a soft-spoken woman named Auntie Betty who barely said a word. And Ifunanya, her sister, as family member. I don't want a crowd, he told her. Let's start our lives in peace. The real celebration can come later. Olivia had hesitated at first, but Jide's calmness had a way of convincing her. He made it sound right. Still, on the morning of the ceremony, something felt off. Her hairdresser called last minute to cancel. The gown she'd ordered came back with the wrong fitting, and the small compound where the ceremony was meant to hold had no power, even though the neighbors had light. But Jide wasn't worried. He showed up looking perfect, black suit well fitted, calm as ever. When he saw her, he smiled like she was the only thing in the world. You look like a dream, he whispered, holding her hand. Olivia forced a smile. And you look like someone who planned this too well. He chuckled softly. I had help. The wedding went on smoothly, and within a short time it was over. No music. Just few people. No cheering guests. Just the quiet hum of a ceiling fan and the far-off barking of a stray dog. That night, he took her to their new apartment. A beautiful, well-furnished bungalow fenced with high walls and gate. Do you like it? He asked. Yes. I love it, Olivia replied. She sat on the edge of the bed, looking around the room. They lived happily and peacefully, always buying her small things each day when coming home. Jide loved her in ways she didn't even know she needed. God, if this is a dream, I don't want to wake up, she would say. He cooked. He cleaned. He kissed her forehead every night before bed. And when Olivia got pregnant just 2 months into the marriage, he was overjoyed. Their first son arrived with laughter and prayers. His love for her double, so also for their son. He comes home early and does everything he can to make her comfortable. 2 years later, they welcomed another baby boy. In 4 years, their home had grown fuller, happier, and still, not once had anything felt unusual. There was only one thing that bothered Olivia. Why Jide never took her to his village. Each Christmas, each Easter, each long weekend, she'd suggest, let's visit your people. Let the kids know their roots. And every time, he'd tell a different story. Work won't give me break. The roads are too bad this season. My mom isn't feeling strong enough to host us. It started as a light concern. Then it became suspicion. But she never pushed. Until one day she did. She was 6 months pregnant with their third child when she told him, this year, we're going to your village for Christmas. No excuses. Jide tried to dodge it, but this time she didn't back down. On December 23rd, they packed their bags, dressed the boys in matching clothes, and started the long journey to the southeast. Jide's face was stiff. He said nothing. The windows of the car were tinted and rolled up. The roads grew narrower. De tristayer. And then, as they approached his village Amaguns, it was already in the evening, he turned off the expressway and entered a quiet, dusty road. They stopped in front of an old bungalow. Jide cleared his throat and said, take the boys inside. I want to quickly ease myself. I will join you soon. Just knock. She stepped out happily, belly round, holding her son's hands. She approached the door and knocked. Who dey? Mama, we're here, oh. Good evening, Mama. After a moment, an elderly woman slowly opened the door. She looked surprised. Yes, she asked. My daughter. Who are you and who are you looking for? Mama, good afternoon. I'm Jide's wife. These are his children. We are home for Christmas. The woman looked blank. Who did you say? Your son, Jide, my husband. He just parked outside. He told us to come in while he steps aside. The woman's eyes filled with tears. With trembling lips, she said, Come inside. My son Jide died 4 years ago in a car accident. Mama, that's not true. We have been living with him and we came together. Olivia's legs went numb. What are you saying? She whispered. The woman pointed to a picture frame inside the sitting room. Is this the person you are talking about? Yes, Mama, that's him. He is not dead. It was him. Jide. Same eyes. Same smile. Same face. But the date below read, Late Mr. Jidena Michael Ojayaker, 1985 to 2020. Come, my daughter. She took her outside to the place he was buried. This is his grave, she said. A loud cry escaped Olivia's throat. The children clung to her skirt. Neighbors rushed in. The compound filled with whispers, gasps, confusion. They said she looked exactly like the girl Jide was planning to marry before he died in an accident the same month she claimed to have met him. They searched, but Jide was gone. No tracks, no sign, nothing. Everything was a lie. Tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. She hugged the 2 boys tightly, as if they will disappear if she leave them. But the children? They were real. The love? It had been real. And the 3rd child in her womb? Real, too. She raised her sons with strength, with truth. And every year on the 23rd of December, she lit a candle. Not because she worshipped him, but because Jide had loved her. Completely, gently, even in death. And maybe, just maybe, some promises are too strong for the grave to break. Thanks for watching. If you are Olivia, what will you do? Will you go back to his house in Lagos? Will you stay and raise the kids? Or leave them with his mother and go? Let's hear your opinion in the comments section. Please do subscribe, like, and share. Also turn on the notification button so that you won't miss our amazing stories.